You are listening to Practical and Woo by Mindset and Manifest. My name is Eden, and I invite you to embark on a journey with me to explore the practical and spiritual edges of the unknown for the purpose of allowing you to embody and empower yourself uniquely as you are and to intentionally create and live a life of freedom and fulfillment. Each week, I am going to discuss topics such as energetics, reality creation, manifestation, astrology, tarot, and more to help empower you to live beyond perceived limitations and to practically design your life so it feels like absolute magic every step of the way. Let's dive in. Well, hello, brilliant soul. I am so excited to dive into a truly inspiring manifestation success story with you today. One that comes from Neville Goddard himself. This story references a personal experience that Neville had with his own intentional creation. And if you don't know, Neville is essentially the grandfather of manifestation in the Western context. What he shares in his experience is a profound reminder that the circumstances we initially experience in our reality don't always reflect what's happening on a deeper level of creation. It also speaks to the importance of having faith, especially when the evidence of what we see in our outer reality doesn't immediately line up with what we are desiring. Neville Goddard was a man of extraordinary imagination, and he had an unwavering faith in his ability to intentionally create his reality. He truly was a mastermind at this and paved the way for us to gain inspiration and acknowledgement of the universal and manifestation principles. And just as a reminder, we are always creating. And so when I am talking about this, I'm more so talking about our ability to intentionally create the reality of our dreams and desires, the one that leads to our innermost fulfillment. It can feel so easy to become doubtful of our ability to create our own reality. And so the access that we have to stories like these, successes of others, acts as a beacon of inspiration that can carry us forward. With all of this said, let's dive into Neville's personal account. In 1943, Neville and his wife found themselves looking for a new apartment to rent after he returned home from service in the army. They had decided on a budget, this set amount that they felt comfortable paying, that they were willing to pay for their new home. They were determined to stick to this budget. Their financial plan was solid, and they decided on how much they wanted their rent to be. When they stumbled upon an apartment that seemed perfect in every single way, something caught them off guard. It was the price. The price was higher than what they were planning to pay. Neville's wife said something to him to the effect of, well, that's not demonstrating the principle, is it? And she was referring to the principle of manifestation and the fact that the price wasn't reflecting what it is that they had desired or intended. Despite his wife's reflection of doubt, Neville acquired the apartment anyway, including this price increase, and he continued to maintain his faith that he was paying and living in an apartment that was within the scope of their budget. He refrained from reacting negatively or from letting the situation disturb him. Neville instead chose to remain calm, and he didn't react or believe in or buy into or dwell in his wife's comment. He didn't allow the external reality to disturb the inner image that he held for himself, because he understood the power of faith and imagination. For the next 2 whole months, Neville paid the rent as it was, even though it was higher than what he was wanting to pay. His belief remained intact. He had committed faith that his internal desire would align with his external reality in perfect timing, even though he didn't know how. As the third month rolled around, he went to pay the rent again. And this time, his landlord had something unexpected to say. With Neville, he shared an apology. It turns out an authority from the city had come to review his books, and they discovered together that the apartment that Neville and his wife had been renting was previously leased for less. The landlord explained that the city had ordered the rent to be lowered to the very amount that Neville and his wife had originally envisioned for themselves. But here's where it got even more interesting. The rent reduction was retroactive to the day that he moved in. The couple received a refund for the overpaid rent from the previous 2 months, bringing the total amount to be exactly what they had imagined in the first place. Even more so, Neville goes on to say that because of the discrepancy, the landlord was willing to offer additional complimentary repairs and maintenance to the building, to his apartment, including this building of a bookshelf that he wouldn't have otherwise offered. Not only did Neville and his wife get their beloved apartment for the price that they were wanting, it also matched the vision that they held for the space, including this new bookshelf. The discrepancy, as Neville explains, while uncomfortable for a period of time, was the bridge that led to other desires that they had for their home. To me, Neville's account is an incredible reminder that the external world is always a mirror reflection of the internal world, of your internal world, of my internal world. Each of our individual realities is reflecting to us our beliefs, faith, assumptions of what is possible to us. And the importance of learning not to be swayed by perceived challenges is ultimately highlighted here in this story. We must learn to stay faithful, to hold our vision, and to watch as everything somehow falls into place in the most unexpected of ways. The external circumstances initially showing a rent higher than his expectations were a brief moment of contrast and discomfort. And in hindsight, one could say that it was divinely orchestrated, leading to even a more complete fulfillment of their desire due to the repairs and the bookshelf. Neville remained unwavering in his belief, and his external reality rearranged itself to meet his and his wife's inner vision. I would like to say thanks to Neville. The couple stayed in that apartment for nearly 14 years, comfortable, at peace, having learned the power of faith and imagination time and time again. This story and their story overall is a testament to the principle that our internal state, our mental image of what is possible, shapes our reality, even when the 3D world or your external world tries to tell you otherwise. Neville's success story also highlights the value of self-confidence in your ability to create. If he'd become riddled with doubt, especially the doubt that was cast upon him by his wife, he might have dropped the entire exercise after a month of no movement, let alone staying the course for 2 months. But by trusting himself and his power of imagination, he developed a resilience and an unwavering faith and a knowing that he was the cause, not the effect of his experience. This is a great example of not needing to get discouraged when things don't immediately align with your desires. It's important to stay grounded in your vision, to remain faithful, and to trust that what it is you're wanting is unfolding behind the scenes, even if it appears to be going in a complete backwards opposite direction. Just because the world outside of you doesn't immediately reflect your thoughts, feelings, and desires doesn't mean that the process isn't in motion. The important thing is to keep holding on to the belief, holding it in your mind, believing in its reality. Because if you continue to, it will manifest. It may not happen in your ideal time frame, and it may not look exactly like you think it will. But in the end, if you follow the healthful principles of manifestation, your manifestation will come to pass. And often it's better than you could have even allowed yourself to picture in the first place. When life doesn't immediately show you what you want, draw upon this story. Better yet, commit to discovering other successes that patrons both past and present have experienced. There are countless pieces of evidence of this eerie effectiveness of reality creation. And it's even more mind-blowing when the pieces of evidence are your own. Neville Goddard's teachings remind us that we are the creators of our reality. Our imagination is the tool through which we shape our world. External circumstances may momentarily seem out of alignment with our desires, but if we stay true to our mental image, if we remain faithful and trust in the unseen forces at work, we will see our manifestation unfold and come to pass. Manifestation isn't about forcing the universe to deliver, nor is it about manipulating circumstances. It's about getting into alignment with the flow of life and trusting in your creative authority over these experiences you're having, even when things don't look the way you expect them to, even when it gets uncomfortable. Your life isn't responding to your surface level wishes. It's responding to the internal energy, beliefs, and vision that you hold within. We must remember to call upon our internal capacity to stand firm in our faith, to keep track of every time that we manifest something successfully, even in the smallest of ways. Here, you can collect evidence and build confidence for larger goals. Remember, it's not the external circumstances that matter. It's the belief that you hold in your own power and the vision that you continue to nurture within. Keep the faith, trust the process, and know that it is done. And if you have any particular questions percolating or bubbling up right now, if something struck a chord with you and you would like to discuss it, please feel free to reach out and ask your question. Until next time.